pull up my screen here. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see this. Everybody see this okay? This is our January 24th workshop. And we are going to be talking about branding and aesthetic. And if you guys saw the little graphic that I shared, I talked about how I have an account on Instagram that has about 80,000 followers. And it's something that I've grown over the last, I guess 6 years or so. I haven't built my business primarily on social media. However, I have been able to connect with a lot of really amazing people on that platform. I've enrolled customers, I've enrolled builders, and my primary reason for doing this training is to help you understand how to use your social media content as a way to have a portfolio that demonstrates who you are, what you have to offer, and the value that you can give to other people as they partner with you or as they come to you, or even for your customers or people on your team. Social media is an incredible way to connect with people that you might never meet in face-to-face. And I love the power that social media has. And honestly, social media is free. Facebook is free, Instagram is free. Learning how to use them, there's a lot of courses out there. There's a lot of paid trainings, and there's also a lot of free content out there, but the trick is finding it all, right? And putting it all in one place. And over the years, I've read so many blogs and watched so many videos and done so much research on how to have an effective presence on social media. So that's what I want to share with you guys. I've broken our trainings down into 5 different topics because there's just too much to cover, I feel like, in just one session. So I'm going to go through this session, and then we're going to do a short Q&A at the end. So if you have questions as we're going through, you're welcome to put them in the chat. I'm going to keep going through, though, until I get to the end, because this is being recorded, and I'll answer all the questions at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about branding. What is branding? Branding is a way to encompass style, value, and provides a coherent representation of a business or a company. So if you are a rep for doTERRA and you are showing up on social media, then you are a brand. Whether you have a name, like a brand name or not, it doesn't matter. You are still a brand because you are showing up and you are adding value, and you are wanting to attract customers or community to your platform for whatever reason. So it's really important to be mindful of your brand and how that looks to your audience and how it looks to people that are scrolling on social media. When you look over here at these graphics that I've included on the slide, you can tell that those brands have coherent style. They have a color scheme, they have a design that's very clear, and it looks beautiful, right? So we want to have a coherent representation of who we are, and using Instagram or social media is a great way to have a portfolio to show someone, to say, hey, you know, I've done this many times. When I meet someone, I say, hey, are you on Instagram? Like, this is my Instagram account. We should follow each other. And they go to my Instagram account and they see me represented through all of the things that I share on Instagram or on social media as far as my business goes. So why is branding important? Branding gives your space on social media a way for you to stand out and to clearly define your purpose and goals for your own platform. I was scrolling through my own Instagram following the other day, and I was just clicking on accounts from people that follow me. And you guys, every single person is different. Every single person that follows, no one that has the same life, the same story, the same history, the same experiences. Everyone has unique value that you can bring to that space. So that's what the benefit is of branding, is you are showcasing your unique value. I want you to consider your strengths, your unique experiences, where your passion lies, what defines your mission, and incorporate that into your branding philosophy. So these are all things that you could jot down, like write down your top 5 strengths, write down some of your like major life experiences, write down your passions and what really makes you sing, what brings you joy, and what is your mission? Like, what's your vision for your partnership with doTERRA, and where do you want to go? All of that can be incorporated into your brand to make it your unique space, your unique platform on social media. I think a lot of times we just kind of throw stuff out there, you know, we're like, this is interesting, this is interesting. We're just kind of throwing stuff out there. But when we take a minute and we are more mindful about how we are sharing, we can do this in such an effective and cohesive way so that when people are out there, you know, there's millions of people on Instagram, and as they are looking out there at all of the things, then your account will stand out because there's intentionality behind it and because there's purpose and design behind it. Okay, so how do you begin? So first, I want you guys to get inspired. Your Instagram aesthetic is one of the best ways to get more followers and to grow your account. Your Instagram feed is the first thing, so your feed. So when you go to an account, you see those little squares. That's the first thing a visitor is going to see when they land on a new profile. So it's important to make a good impression. When a visitor lands on your profile and knows exactly what they can expect to see on your feed, they're much more likely to hit that follow button. So are they going to see something that is kind of jumbled and mismatched? Are they going to see something that really flows and works together? So look at some other accounts you enjoy and their design. You don't have to look at essential oil accounts. You can look at any accounts that you enjoy and see how they've designed their feed. What's their color palette? What fonts are they choosing? Are their images darker? Are their images brighter? What is the layout? And what content are they sharing? So you can look at all kinds of different accounts and kind of see what their theme and their style is and get inspired by those. And think about how you can incorporate that into what you're wanting to share and how you're wanting to show up on social media. I want you to consider your own experiences and preferences. What unique influences can you bring into your space? What audience do you specifically resonate with? What audience do you want to reach? Take the time to think about these things while you're browsing your favorite profiles, and that will help you decide what aesthetic will best represent your brand. So some people just might connect more with kind of people doing yoga or fitness. Some people connect more with young moms who are, you know, chasing around their toddlers. Some people might connect more with people who are, you know, maybe in their 20s, maybe older, the older crowd. Like, find your audience. Be very clear about who you want to reach, because your experiences are going to be what connects them to your account. So also consider what types of photos you're going to be posting. For example, if you love like a really bright, light, clean, crisp feed, but you live somewhere where it rains a lot, then it might be harder to get those kinds of photos done. You can still do really beautiful photos that have kind of a darker lighting. And I'm going to talk about lighting next time. But think about what's possible. If you're taking your own photos, or even if you are using photos from a service, which I know there are some out there, think about the photos that you're choosing to feature on your feed and make sure they all complement each other. So make sure you consider what and where you'll be shooting, as this will help you maintain consistency. And consistency is really key when you're creating your aesthetic and should be considered above all else. Consistency is key, because consistency is what's going to provide that flow, and it's going to be what helps people feel comfortable. You know, if something is sporadic or it changes a whole lot, then it feels kind of disjointed and confusing for people. Instagram is all visual. So we want to make sure that what we're sharing is visually pleasing. Okay. Those are my two graphics on the side there. And as you can see, they both have very similar lighting styles. And I'm going to talk about lighting next week. But it's important to consider, how am I lighting? How's the light for these photos? And how much light do I actually have? Create a mood board. This is fun. if you're creating a mood board, you need to make sure to include a mix of colors, textures, patterns, and quotes to help you better visualize what your Instagram feed can look like. Once you've created a mood board, take a step back and decide what words come to mind. Cool, soft, inviting, playful, fun. I mean, what words come to mind when you see like what your preferences are altogether? Your mood board should be a visual representation of what you want your Instagram brand to encompass. Once you have a clear picture in your head of what you'd like your photos and Instagram feed to look like, then your editing is going to be so much easier. It's going to be easier to find ways to display your oils or your product. You're going to have an easier time choosing filters. You're going to have an easier time choosing your color scheme. If you have an idea of where do I want to go with this and what do I want to create and what do I want people to see when they come to my space here on social media. So this is just an example of what a mood board could look like. She has paint samples. She has different pictures of locations, but they have a very similar style and very similar color scheme, lots of blues and grays and whites. I'm going to show you some different options here in a little bit, but that's just something to help you, start thinking. Just go on Pinterest and you can look at color schemes. You can look at mood board, and you're going to have so many different ideas of things to pin that you can refer back to. Colors. So color is a great way to accent and bring unique style to your platform. Choosing similar colors throughout your content will bring cohesiveness to your platform. So this is something that you can integrate, whether you are taking your own photos and maybe you have some props or maybe you have some decorations that you want in your photos along with your product. But if you're choosing photos from a service, look for consistency in colors and try to find photos that really go together well. These are some websites over here. You can screenshot this and type these in: colorhex.com, pantone.com/colorfinder, designseeds.com, color.adobe.com. These are websites I've used to find palette inspiration. If you have Canva Pro, they actually have sample palettes that you can use as well when you are editing photos, and that kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it. If you're not naturally a creative person and you need some extra help, then Canva kind of has done that for you. You can also just Google search or use your favorite search engine and look for color palettes or color schemes. You could look up trendy color schemes or boho color schemes, or find something that really resonates with you. And all of these color palettes I found were from Google. So think about your personality and what you want to convey on your social media space. What colors suit you the best? Color is a great way to communicate with your audience. Colors do communicate different things to people that are visiting your account. If you have, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but people who go like on the news or politicians will wear certain colors of ties and shirts because they want to convey a certain impression. So this is something I found. These colors represent different emotions and thoughts for people. So think about who you are. Think about your Enneagram type, your personality type, your style, and which of these colors kind of resonate with you the most. There's a lot of options out there, and combinations of colors as well. Okay, fonts. I love fonts. I'm kind of a font addict at this point. I love choosing fonts. It's so fun for me. And when I make graphics, it's probably the thing I spend the most time on, honestly, is choosing fonts, because there are so many. And fonts are important because it's how you're conveying a message to people. Not just with the actual writing, but with the actual design of your writing. So choose your fonts intentionally to enhance your brand and your aesthetic. Using the right typography font gives your design work more value. It delivers the right message. Since every font has different representations and impact, use the right one that suits the industry that you're in order to convey the right message. A design work that uses the right typography shows professionalism. You can let your font add style to your work for good presentation. Using a good typography font would make information more interesting. So using the right typography makes people want to read what you've written there. So even if, because they're just glancing, and if you think about Instagram, they could possibly see your graphic for a millisecond. So you're wanting to be really intentional at what you put on that graphic to grab the attention of as many people as possible. So typography does that. Some typography is really exciting and fun. Some of it is boring. Some of it is some typography people really dislike. So just be intentional about what kind of font you're choosing. Your font reflects personality. Use the font that's not just appropriate to the project, but is also readable and clear, because that is the primary element that informs readers. It establishes your branding and identity, and it is eye-catching. Now, not every graphic needs fonts. Not every graphic needs to have words on it, which is totally fine. You can definitely mix it up. But if you are using font at all on your graphics, it's really good to be consistent, because it will flow better as someone's scrolling through your feed. There's some examples there on the right of some font combinations. I just included those so you guys could see how to pair your fonts. I'm going to give you some websites in a second, but as you can see, there's big, bold, and then there's small, faint, or there's more of a script up top, and then a capital, capital letters at the bottom that's smaller. So as you can see, mixing your fonts together can be really helpful as well. Okay, here's some resources for some fonts. There are free fonts that you can download for personal use. 1001 free fonts, dafont.com, fontsly.com. These are free for personal use. So if you're designing something to sell, you would have to purchase some of these. Font website for purchase, thehungryjpeg.com. I like the Hungry. I've bought some fonts from there before. If you're wanting to make something to sell, then you have to purchase the fonts. If you want to have font pairing suggestions, maybe this is all brand new to you and you don't know how to put fonts together. So go to fontjoy.com or fontpair.co, and they will be helpful for you, because they'll put the fonts together for you, and you can kind of start getting an idea of what goes with what. Logo. Your brand logo can be used to watermark your graphics, enhance your brand, and give your business legitimacy. And your logo does not have to be complicated. In fact, the more simple, the better, because then it can be used on a lot of different things. You can use your brand name. Like if you have a name for your business, you could use that. You could use your initials. You could use your name. I could use Amanda Beach, or I could use AB. It doesn't have to be some creative name for my business. And I know some people, like when they start doTERRA, they think, I have to think of a name for my business. You don't have to. Just use your name. You are the one people are connecting with, not a brand. You are their person. So don't be afraid to use your own name on your logo. Consider your style, what graphic or image you'd use to encapsulate your business or vision. And you don't want to make it too busy, because then it detracts from your design. So you want it to be simple and readable. Think about fonts, think about your colors, all of that. Here's some other logo examples that I found. And there's actually resources out there for free logo design, freelogodesign.org, canva.com/create/logos, brandcrowd.com. So those are just a few that I found. I know there are others out there. And as you guys are searching for your logos, you guys don't have to spend money on this. And that's one of my favorite things about doing all of this for Instagram. I've spent almost no money on any trainings I've done, any graphics I've made. I'll get into more of stuff that I have spent money on that I think is worth it if you're going to be designing things, but most of the things out there are free. Okay, let's bring it all together. Design. Take a step back. Consider your big picture. What do you want to create with your platform? What is your overall feel, theme, and intention? If someone were to take a screenshot of your space, would they see it flow? Would there be consistency? Would the images work together to create a unified impression? What unifying message do you want to convey to your visitors? And I know a lot of us on here do essential oils. We want to educate people about essential oils, but you can have an overarching theme that brings essential oils together in a cohesive way. Use a visual planner. This is going to be really helpful for you if you are wanting to make sure all your graphics match really well. So planning out your content in advance is really what's going to make or break your Instagram aesthetic. You don't want to focus on how you're editing your photos, but start considering what they look like next to each other. What's beside, what's below, what's on top of your new posts. I make most of my graphics in Canva, and I'm going to talk about Canva later. But when I'm making my graphics in Canva, I upload each new graphic to Canva, and I can see how it matches all the other graphics that I've already uploaded there. This is the best way to pre-plan your feed. And to make sure everything is flowing together, use a visual planner like Later or Plan. And I know there's some other visual planners out there. The one that you see here on this slide is Later. And a lot of this information in our presentation was also from the Later website. So they have a really useful app that you can use to schedule and style and arrange your graphics. Scheduling out your posts ahead of time doesn't just help you maintain a consistent aesthetic, but it also helps you post regularly, which is also really important when you're trying to grow your following. Posting consistently is so important. You don't have to post every day. I know some people have heard you have to post every day, you have to post twice a day, but really it's just about being consistent. And I know I talk a lot about your post and your feed, and that's what people are seeing, but it's also really important to show up in the other ways that Instagram has available. So that's your stories, reels, IGTV, making sure there's content in a lot of different places gives you more visibility on that platform. Okay, so these are some accounts that I found that have a certain style and mood to them. So when we're talking about glowing up, we're talking about making something more up-leveling, more exciting, more cohesive. So if you're looking for kind of a soft and dreamy feel, as you can see, she used a lot of blues and pinks and light colors and cream colors. These indie accounts have more browns and grays and kind of have a darker editing as far as lighting goes. And that's totally possible to have that kind of feel and have your account still be convey emotion and coherency. So don't be afraid to have an account that has kind of a more moody undertone. That is something that's actually very, very popular right now. More options. So this one over here on the left is neutrals. Just a lot of grays, browns, blacks, cream colors, lots of neutrals. And she sticks with that color palette. In the middle, we have warm and vibrant. So bright blues, bright oranges, bright pinks and yellows. But it's all consistent. So you don't see like on the warm and vibrant, you're not seeing like a black and white photo thrown in there. So you can definitely change it up, every so often. I'll throw in a post that doesn't like quite match the rest of what's going on with my feed, but I don't do that very much because I want the rest of my feed to really bring everything all together so that when there's one that looks a little bit different, it doesn't throw off the whole thing. And then over here, we have another soft and dreamy account with more blues and creams and whites and light colors, very soft. So you probably can feel the emotions coming from each of these accounts. So imagine your own Instagram account or your space on social media. What do people feel when they come to your account? Do they feel like it's coherent? Do they feel like it flows? Do they see synergy between all your posts? Or is it very scattered? Okay, so now between this week and next week, you guys can get to work. Go find some inspiration, tap into your own creativity. If you're on Instagram, it's because you have a creative bone in your body. There's something about that platform that has drawn you in because you want to express yourself visually, and you have the ability to tap into that creativity and express that through what you are showing there on that space. And this is going to up level your social media presence. As your feed becomes more beautiful through matching pictures and graphics and all the fonts and all of that, people are going to notice. People are going to say, wow, that is your account. I get messages regularly from people that say, I really like how your layout, I really like your colors, I really like your photos, I really like your fonts. And they ask me about all this, which is why I'm doing these for you guys. But you guys can do this too. This is something that anyone can do. And it just takes being intentional and planning ahead and really understanding your style and what you want to represent there on social media. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can jump into some Q&A. So let me stop the recording.